There always is a white space opportunity. For those that seek it out and dare to be different, they tend to win more often than those that look like their peer set in kind of the competitive landscape.
All right, welcome to Hack to the Future with Kyle Roof. I am Kyle Roof, and today we have Ryan Truax, who's the Senior Director of Marketing at Leadpages. Ryan, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure. I'm very much looking forward to today's conversation.
Fantastic. So, Ryan, I know that you are known for growth hacking in particular, and in one instance, in-app user engagement. How would you define in-app user engagement? Is that using the tool as it's kind of meant to be used? Is that using extra features? Kind of what's included in in-app engagement?
Yeah, for us, it's much to be about user adoption, right? So we have a website builder, landing page builder here at Leadpages, and there are a lot of little widgets and little bits of functionality that we hold near and dear to our hearts. And of course, it's our goal to get those users to adopt that. So for us, we're really looking at these micro moments in which we see if we get a foothold with a specific feature, or again, widget, call it what you may, that we believe that the path to their success beyond that is one of which we're quite confident in. So we're really kind of in a micro analysis, look at these smaller parts of the application to ensure they align with our expectations, but more importantly, build those kind of steps to the user's success. Again, a lot of micro-segmentation allows us to look at their journey in a way in which it's not just, hey, we have a 1,500 DAUs, that's awesome. But what are the stories within that really lead us to believe that the confidence of that cohort is going to win with us into the future?
What would be something where you can apply a growth hack to a specific type of engagement? What's something that you might, as a technique, apply to that?
Yeah, I actually might take this just a little bit differently based upon a fundamental shift that we've made at Leadpages as of recent. So I think a lot of folks that are building product often think we need these big monolithic moments throughout the year that people are going to get so excited about that we can celebrate, shout from the rooftops, and everybody will come. Well, we can often disappoint ourselves when we realize these big moments aren't as big as we want them to be. So as of recent, we've actually worked on a level of frequency with our updates to show the commitment to our end users that we're providing them value each and every day. Martech is growing increasingly competitive, right? There's a million different places to go for the same solution. So if you're not showing a commitment to the end user in a way in which you're actively building and working towards their success, they might fall off that journey. They may not wait for those 4 big moments in the year. I might lose them to a competitor. So what I want to show the end user as of this year and as of this moment, weekly, bi-weekly updates, and we're replaying that value to them. We don't want to be out of sight. They can't forget about us, and they can't ignore the value that we're bringing to their account. So every time that monthly credit card statement shows up, my Leadpages line item is in there. There's not this question of, am I getting in return what I'm paying for it? And I think so many that build a product assume that these big monolithic moments are going to be these kind of save all, catch all solutions for their revenue challenges or for these, interpersonal experiences. And I might challenge that. I think fundamentally the frequency and the momentum that is built on kind of a weekly, bi-weekly cadence, even small little things, it doesn't have to be these big wins, is how we kind of get to the path that we want to. And that's for me, revenue, and for others, it's user adoption.
Would that be, you can see that they try a new feature or they come back like as a repeat use on a feature?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So when we launch these things, it's much to do with adoption upon, release, obviously for us. So we're looking for those first moments in the first 10 to 14 days to ensure that, again, the things that we have built has captured the attention of that end user. So very much so, yeah. And again, we're doing so feature by feature, and then we're looking at a macro view of just pure publish with that feature. For us, it could be an animated button, a section divider as of recent. Does that inform their larger publish? Did they use the things inside of their landing page publish? If so, we're feeling pretty good about it. And then we segment down to the actual feature itself. And by looking at both, we can start to create trends of which we feel quite confident in heading into the future. So macro and micro analysis really unlocks a lot of opportunity and your ability to kind of see around corners.
It's good. I know that part of what you talk about is taking a scientific approach to growth and growth hacking. What would be a scientific approach versus maybe willy-nilly growth hacking? Like how would you define that, or how would you describe that?
Yeah, I'll take you through a recent example that maybe folks can actually take action on themselves. For me, performance marketing, right? It's the lifeblood of my job, and it is for many organizations. Often that means paid media, right? We're all spending, we're all trying to capture the attention of others and bring those new customers to the business. Often we build these campaigns, we try to segment and create things that look like our ideal customer profile. We ship it, we wait for it to come back. We say, boy, that did or did not work, right? The thing that we're not often doing, though, is applying our learnings back to the channel of choice. So for me, Google, for instance, in this example, We have a primary conversion event, right? We get folks to start a trial. We're really excited about it. Google sees that signal. They try to replicate it to the best of their abilities. We at Leadpages have a 14-day free trial. I'm trying to find moments within that free trial experience that I can replay back to Google that say, actually, this signal has strengthened because Kyle signed up for a free trial, first conversion event. But guess what Kyle did on his second and third day? He hit our dashboard. He logged in 3 or 4 times. I create secondary and third conversion events that allow for Google to take that signal and strengthen it again. So when I ask them to go find more people, spend more money, they're able to replay multiple signals to go find more Kyle Roofs of the world, actually. So I think too often we're just looking at a singular conversion event, right? We say, cool, they started the trial, they became a customer, they became a lead. That's great, that's a win. But what if you could double down on that success and find other things that are leading indicators of what Kyle might look like and his friends and his family as well? Because many of us that hopefully have unlimited ad spend because of our performance, right? If success follows, we're all willing to spend to the moon. If you do these things, it does unlock the ability to spend more, in my opinion. I've seen it play out in real time. And right now we're actually, working with the algorithms inside of Google to play these secondary and third conversion events in a way in which the signal strengthens immeasurably. And my Google reps, as of recent, actually told me they had not seen this tried, and they were thrilled just to launch this experiment. It's nice when Google tells you you're doing something I haven't seen before, but they're excited as we are about it. So for what it's worth, they are.
So that's interesting. So then when you're talking about a KPI, it wouldn't just be we did this thing and it turned into revenue or maybe decreasing churn. It would be also the engagement points that you can use for something else.
It's the shared relationship between customer acquisition and product usage, right? Again, I think many of us are just under PLG models, right? Get them to the product and the product takes care of the rest of it. But what if I measure those PLG moments in a way in which it informed customer acquisition? Now we've created a flywheel. Every marketing leader, CMO in the world's talking about flywheels. Rarely does it make sense, and it's often so abstract. But this is a true flywheel that has science applied to acquisition and product adoption. Now we're talking about things that matter, and I would encourage those that run paid media and have their hands on it in a basic understanding of conversion events inside of Bing, Facebook, Insta, more primarily for me, Google, to find second and multiple conversion events that they can feed back to Google and see what happens. I like your odds at winning.
I like that a lot. So I've seen you talk about brand story and message house. How would you define those terms? What is a brand story and what is a message house?
Yeah, for the message house, for those, I would ask you to Google it and just get this simple visual. It's often the foundations, your core messages, right? And I think it's really critically important because marketing is an ever evolving, living, breathing organism, and it's shifting and changing all the time. We need something to orientate ourselves around with, something to come back home to, no pun intended with the house kind of thing here. But the real reason is because we're often running in areas that are unfamiliar to us, and we lose sight of what is our core identifying principles. Again, how does that customer see themselves as a part of your brand story? So I think of, again, message house is the construct in which our core messages are defined. Clearly, we can orientate ourselves against those. And then that levels up into the brand story. What is the net new prospect? What does the customer see when you're speaking to them or with them? More importantly, I really am a big proponent of having a dialogue and not talking at people. So for us, we really try to lean into relatability, right? We're seeking marketers. We want to feel, look, and sound like a marketer. So our visual story, our written word, our audible story, all align with what a marketer would expect of themselves and their competitors, their peer set. So the two kind of have a shared relationship, of course, but the power of brand, in my opinion, is something that is often lost. We're always speeding to build the best product. The story often follows behind the product development, and we often end up looking a lot like our peer set. Now, I like myself to dare to go where others have not gone. There always is a white space opportunity. For those that seek it out and dare to be different, they tend to win more often than those that look like their peer set in kind of the competitive landscape. As earlier referenced, for me, Martech has never been more competitive. It's a sea of logos. You can go anywhere to get anything these days. How do you uniquely stand out? I think it's much to do, again, daring to be different.
I would think that if somebody can relate to the story, then that's when you've got somebody where they're like, oh, this is me. They can see themselves in the journey in using the tool and how it's going to apply to what they're doing. That gives them the opportunity to relate to what you're doing on a much higher level.
Correct. I mean, we always talk about, churn reduction. How do we go about reducing churn? Well, we think about product experience. Was the product good enough to solve their needs? Well, we have to assume that that's the case. But again, if there's a disconnect from what brought you to the product, and then as I remarket to you and communicate with you, if there's a distance that's growing between us and our ability to kind of, again, relate to one another, we're going to have perhaps elevated churn because of this. I no longer see myself in the product. The brand doesn't sound like it to me. It's too big. It's too small. again, ensuring that we close that distance between, again, relatability between that customer and the experiences we provide. Again, in my view, excuse me, can unlock churn reduction. Like these are the things that can inform it a bit more abstractly, admittedly, but really can make meaningful differences.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to play a game. This game is called Which is More Important. I'm going to give you a
Love it.
scenario, and you're going to tell me which is more important.
Let's go.
Do you understand the rules of the game?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. All right. When writing a hip hop song, which is more important, music or lyrics? For example, if Vision, the Kid, and True are writing the song "Bad at Letting It Go," which is more important, the music or the lyrics?
Wow, Kyle, you did your homework. I like this. All right, you're talking to a former, maybe current music producer yet in my hobbies, but I would have to suggest, much like marketing, you have to capture one's attention immediately. Often there's a few seconds before that first lyric or a rhyme that takes place. I'm going to go with music.
Right on, right on. Were you doing the beats in those songs? Was that you?
Yeah, long aspiring music producer, attempted to go out west, if you will, and fell in love with marketing instead. So here I am.
What do you have any main musical influences? Who do you like?
Man, I like to go back to the 60s and 70s, quite honest. The music that my parents grew up on is wildly informative. Think about times in which there were only 4 to 5 instruments available to you, and you had to do something new. I love those that, again, dare to go where others do not. You think of the Beatles recording sessions with George Martin and challenging the engineers to do things that were never been done before. Again, unconventional approaches to things that were so standardized. I mean, get out of here. They had to really, truly be revolutionary. Nowadays, we have every tool at our disposal, and it's very easy to recreate complex moments. But back then, wow.
Excellent. As we mentioned at the beginning, you're the senior director of marketing at Leadpages. For people that are unfamiliar with Leadpages, can you give us the 30-second elevator? What does Leadpages do?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a conversion optimized landing page provider in essence. So what we do is we go a mile deep on optimization and conversion for your business. So again, often folks are launching large campaigns. You need a singular place to point those folks to. We take message matched experiences and put those through the lens of conversion optimization. Our on-page UX is second to none. Our page load speed is our secret sauce. We do it better than anybody else around. And we do so without any coding abilities, right? Like I think that's still lost. Everything is drag and drop, but a no code experience still is vitally important for someone who doesn't have a lot of time and needs to do things quickly. And it is able to quickly iterate on these on-page experiences. You can come here, do that in a few short minutes, quite honestly, achieve results, launch the campaign, test, iterate, money.
Love it. A big feather in your cap at Leadpages was leading Leadpages to the largest month of revenue that it had in 3+ years. That must have taken an omni-channel approach. When we're talking about omni-channel, what are those channels? What are you going to make that happen?
Yeah, in short, again, it looks much like what marketers assume, right? Paid acquisition through all the varying channels. For us, again, a strong affiliate network is the lifeblood of our business. About 20% of our revenue does come from it. So we were able to really double and triple down on what that experience meant. And then again, not often identified as such, but your expansion opportunities within your own customer base as well. I kind of broke it down into those 3 categories or segments, if you will, with a bunch of micro things that sat underneath that as well. So for us, when I look at paid, it was display, it was obviously search, but we also experimented and really won big unconnected TV. That was back when it was kind of in its infancy, and it was an incredible experience and a touch point that few marketers had benefited from. We still come from the age of broadcast, and how dare you think that you can be on someone's TV set inside of their living room. The beauty of 2023 and 2024 is that's unlocked and very available to us. So we took a very bespoke approach to each channel. So every channel has its unique content that tends to win out. Sometimes us as marketers just blanket every channel with the same message, the same style of content, with the inability to seek out what does that channel require to be successful. We were able to break down each channel, understand what users really were expecting of the channel, match that, and then really drill down on, again, the surround sound style of marketing. So if I captured your attention over here on search, or maybe that connected to the TV experiences I talked about, there would be other touch points to inform that trust and to remind you of the value that I would bring to you. So we really wanted to be everywhere that you were. We had a 2-week campaign in which we unlocked untold amounts of opportunity, thus leading to that largest revenue in 3 years for Leadpages.
That's actually something I was going to ask. Everybody looks at kind of something measured in 1 month in terms of what you did in that month, but it's many months of work to get to that point? What does that look like? Like, how many months do you think you're really setting this up before you've got something in motion to have a month like that?
Yeah, for us, there was work that began 8 weeks prior to it, right? We were having ideative sessions in which we tried to figure out, again, channel identification. What is the channel required to be successful? I'm talking about a team of 14 people working in different parts and different capacities throughout that 8 weeks. So I benefit from a great group of marketers, but it did take us some time. I mean, we're talking of, north of, 1.5 million produced in this month. So this isn't peanuts. So it took a really locking our arms together, quite honestly, for about 6 to 8 weeks pretty consistently. Then we launched, measured quickly and swiftly, iterated as needed. And at the end of the day, we were thankful to win together.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, I know that people can find Vision the Kid and True on SoundCloud, because that's where I found you, and Bad That Let It Go is a great song. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, I think simply, first and foremost, RyanTruax.com is a simple place to find me personally. LinkedIn, similarly, find me there. And then more importantly, Leadpages, all of our social channels. You'll be hearing more thought leadership from myself, our wonderful new CEO as well, and some of the other key players here at Leadpages. So we're looking to democratize the voice. But personally, if you want to talk to me, Ryan.Truax at Leadpages. If you want to talk about business opportunities, I'm always into strategic partnerships. But if you're looking for more of a DM kind of conversation, find me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to chat with anybody about these thoughts today or other curiosities about my story or how I can impact theirs, perhaps.
Awesome. Ryan, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Likewise,
And
Kyle.
I want to
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone else for listening to Hack to the Future. We'll talk to you next time.